recording. There we go. All right. Make sure that I'm all set up. My computer has these little like things that are like, so there's rain coming. Like, okay, rain's coming. I don't like you're my computer. Where do you think you are? Do you think I'm like outside or something? Like, you know, like you need to tell me that there's rain coming. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm there with you. Every time it rains, every part of my body creaks like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm getting the swollen joints now. Where like, the rain is coming because your knees or your hands start, getting swollen.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I feel the pressure. Yeah. Hi. All throughout the week, I like pretend that I am not my age. Be like, oh, I don't know anything about the 90s. So I'm glad sometimes that I just get to come here and be like, okay, let me tell you the history of this whole thing. Yeah. All right. So I'm Van. This is Heinen. And we talk about the 90s. Yeah. And today it's Monica Lewinsky. So, so if you don't know who Monica Lewinsky is, she infamously gave Bill Clinton, who was our president at the time, a blowjob, and then I believe that he was, oh my gosh, he like lied under oath. Oh, and the whole that depends on what your definition of is.
And then we get the famous quote from him: "I did not have sexual relations, but technically, my hoo-hoo didn't go into hers, so
right."
No."
Well, and then the famous like picture of them like hugging, like like played over and over again.
Yeah.
There's also, I mean, obviously there's many layers to this, and like, and especially in the 90s, this was like controversial, like on so many different levels. Not that we didn't know that Bill Clinton was a cheater, because like he had been accused of assault before he got into office, and Hillary Clinton famously blamed rape victims in court for what happened to them, and I guess like she had gone really like bad, I think, on like Jennifer Flowers or something like that, where it was just like, okay, for as much good as either of them could do, like there was a lot of bad. Yep. And then there was Linda Tripp. Do you remember this part of it?
I do not, but hold on.
Okay. So Linda Tripp was Monica Lewinsky's older friend and confidant, and she recorded phone calls once she realized that Monica Lewinsky was having an affair with the president, and then there was the stain on the blue dress that Linda Tripp had, and it was supposed to have basically Bill Clinton's DNA on it.
Leavings.
Yes, leavings on it. Yes. And so that, like, oh my gosh, that was zeitgeist for how many years of like, the stain on the blue dress.
Like, I remember back then, I was watching this last anyway, it was nothing but like uproarious laughter every time it was mentioned.
Right. And I think that this is one of those examples of like the sexual prudishness that the 90s had.
Yeah.
That it was like, it's like the slut slut shaming, all of this other stuff that like,
it wasn't just slut shaming, it was also propaganda. It was also deterrence away from the main factors. Like,
right, it was totally wag the dog.
Yeah, I believe we can say it best. Like you said, Hillary Clinton was famous for victim blaming in that regard.
Right.
I don't put it past her to have like engineered a lot of the media campaign that essentially tried to put more blame onto Michael Lewinsky than it did Bill Clinton.
Right.
But then again, I think like that was just in general what everyone decided to go.
Right. Oh yeah, that was very 90s to blame the woman for the man's serial affairs, like as if he had no choice in that, as if he wasn't president and was making choices every day.
Yeah, it's not like he had a conscious decision to pull down his pants and say, "Hey, have at it."
Right.
He made the conscious decision just as much as Monica did.
Right.
Now, was it a poor decision on both their parts? Absolutely, but we can't like move away from the fact that both of them were culpable in this, but only one of them really got punished. And then again, that punishment, like it's minimal for Bill Clinton because he can roll with it. He's been in office, like politics for a while, and gone from controversy to controversy, pretty easily, and never really got any kind of like. I mean, you could say he was impeached, but
he was impeached.
Term in office,
right? Yeah, he was like. I think there's two parts of impeachment, and he was impeached on one part, but not the other part, so he wasn't removed from office.
Yeah, my problem is this whole thing about like, oh, we have to impeach him. That means next to nothing anymore.
Yeah.
Because no one's ever going to get removed from office.
No. And
that's oppressive.
And I know that, like, I think it had kind of come up with, like, Trump and, like, how, like, you know, he had multiple affairs and all of this other stuff was coming out while he was, like, in office and then impeached. And, like, how it was different. You know, how, like, you know, people kind of accepted for whatever reason that he was a womanizer and, like, that, you know, he probably was doing, like, you know, things while he was in office. But, like, that, like, you know, this blowjob, which was, like, you know, a very personal experience that had nothing to do with, like, how Bill Clinton was, like, you know, running the nation. That, like, that was the thing that, you know, like, he was impeached for. Well, I think it was the perjury that he was impeached for, which I'm like, well,
it was a lie. It was the fact that he lied under oath. That's the thing that they wanted to, like, push forward. I think that was how they always worded it, is we don't give a shit about his infidelity.
Right.
That's crappy, but they wanted to hit him on the oath thing because that was an impeachable offense. And I'm going to be honest, like, it most likely seems like that, like, and again, this feels like this really feels like what happens every single time no one vice president. It's like they will witch hunt.
Yeah.
Any possible thing. And I'm not saying,
Yeah.
I'm not saying Trump is innocent
at
all. But I'm saying they did it harder for him than anything else. And it became really evident that's always the game plan.
That was the plan. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, like, it's so interesting where, like, people are like, oh, but this happened and the other side did this and this happened and the other side did that. And it's like, okay, but, like, you do understand that, like, if one side doesn't do something, the other side also, like, can or cannot do that same thing. You know, like the filibusters. Let's get rid of filibusters. You do know what that means, right? Like,
both sides cannot use it.
Both sides cannot use it. Like, there was something else that I was like, yeah, I've seen that happen before with the Democrats too. Like, what are you guys thinking? Like, it's politics. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think it was like the popular vote or something like that. As much as I'm like, as everyone I know, like, goes after like, oh, but the electoral college is totally fucked. But that means it's a popular vote,
right?
And that means that every, like,
and that means
city would essentially be able to say, fuck you.
Right.
This is who we're voting for.
And the middle states would get no representation. There'd be like, it'd be like, oh, okay, so, you know, California and New York, that's who our main goals are then, and that's it. You know, not like Iowa choosing. Yeah.
Yeah. The other states would literally just be chained to their fucking doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nuts.
Right.
Look, I'm not saying it's a perfect system. Obviously, it's corrupt. It needs reform.
Right.
I'm of the opinion that what is it? Yeah, the gerrymandering thing and
Oh God, yeah.
the voter location thing needs to be completely upended because all it does is just create undue favoritism. As far as I was aware, like it creates like unnecessary like racism,
Oh
where it
yeah.
just like it focuses on lower income communities and everything, and just it affects like what votes get put where and everything. And all I can think is just why are you making this way more complicated than it should be?
Right. That's true. I mean, yeah. So in thinking about this topic, I was thinking about how people treated Bill Clinton and before he got elected, and it was really funny to me. And I think it's kind of the equivalent of he has a TikTok, so people like him, and it's like, but I I was young. People were telling me that he was cool because he went on MTV and talked about boxers or briefs, which like he was trying to appeal to the younger generation, which I'm like, okay, yeah, but like, I mean, I was kind of more interested that he was like a saxophonist. Then like that he went and answered questions from college students who were like, so like, are you like us, basically? And he's not, in many regards, but like, it was only because they were like, people were saying that it was cool that they like, it's like they thought that it was cool, but it actually like what wasn't, you know?
Yeah, this is one of those times where I feel like the propaganda and
Yeah.
like the what's the term I'm looking for? God damn it, brain work with me. The advertisement of the president is really what made it win.
Yeah.
I think this is because like all the time in like the popular news media, as far as I can tell, that everyone said he was the good president.
Oh yeah.
Like he was the one that was on our side. No one really gave specifics outside of like a few things.
Right.
And they just kept going with this because he's like I'm the cool guy.
Right. Right.
I went and had a hot dog in.
Oh yeah, he had McDonald's on his run. Like I had a run. I went to McDonald's. Like okay.
Yeah, I remember that period. But yeah, like it was always just the average. And I feel like this is one of the ones where the media depiction of him outweighed the actual character of the person.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I'm just trying to think, what did he pat? Like, I mean, there was a couple of things that at the time they were okay, but that I'm like, nope, those turned out problematic. I think that the fairy tales, or at least Once Upon a Time, had told us repeatedly, when you have one thing, you need to give up the other. And, like the welfare to work. That sounded like a good program. And then it just went to shit. And then the only other thing I remember is the 72 cruise missiles, which were sent over to Afghanistan, Iraq, which obviously upset Bin Laden, and then that was the whole, they hate us because of the 72 cruise missiles. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that was Clinton. I don't think that it was Bush Jr.
Balkans and led to the creation of the United Nations Protectorate in Kosovo. I'm looking this up because honestly, off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you what his presidency really meant.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Because he was president during the Kosovo War, which was, oh my God, that was awful. I mean, the only thing that I know really about it is because it was Alata's diary, which is a young child who survived through all of that, and like watching her mom go over this bridge that was like, there were snipers trying to kill people, and this mom is just out there trying to work, which I'm like, oh my God, can you imagine having a 10-year-old at home be like, I need to go over this bridge to get to work? Fine.
So, I just want to be clear on something, and I've noticed this. Every president has launched a bombing, and they've gotten progressively worse. Like Obama did drone bombings, which to this day we'll never know how many casualties are because they never counted drone strikes in the numbers. So like that, I just noticed this. Like when it says launch a major bombing campaign in the Balkans, he didn't necessarily plan it. He was just given a vague idea of what was going to happen.
What was happening there? Yeah.
Want to do it.
Yeah.
And I think this keeps going back to the idea that the president really doesn't have too much authority over the fact that he just says yes or no.
Yeah.
Because like every advisor he has tells him like exactly what he wants to hear, or like tells him XYZ for the most part, but like he's not the one that is activating the strikes or anything. I get he's responsible because he's the leader of the free world, but
right. It seems like he's the leader, but then like there's other obviously people who have knowledge who are trying to like inform him,
right,
what's going on.
Yeah. Okay. So going back to what he actually did during his presidency,
yeah,
he set up the most ambitious initiative in order to get universal health care, but that
obviously
failed because.
Yeah, I thought that he was one of the presidents that allowed HMOs to like go into hospitals. So I'm like, And I remember that being I remember that being a controversy. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is like one of those things of, oh hey, we thought we were doing something good, but then someone comes in and says, oh, but I can make this even better for me, and just
right, exactly. Yeah.
Bipartisan coalition for healthcare reform and expanded health insurance for children. Interesting. Foreign policy. Remained on good terms with Boris Yeltsin.
Oh yeah.
Deregulation of financial and telecommunications industry. I'm almost dead certain that failed.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that failed. Yeah.
Well, I think that failed more so because of W, but like that's.
But yeah, it's the other thing.
I don't know. I'm of the opinion like the last president like fucks over the next president.
Oh yeah. No. They have these policies and they do the thing and then it just doesn't. Yeah. Oh, my friend Thomas is giving comments. So he's like, I don't really remember Clinton's policies. I just remember him. Yes, the Relocation Act of the 90s brought Bosnians to St. Louis, which is, I think, where I know Thomas lives around that area. I think he does live in that area. Yeah, and he's like, Western capitalism is the main objective. And it's like, yep. It really,
yeah. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
So I just want to go back to one thing. This always I thought about this recently and it hit me really hard. The U.S. presidency at this point has essentially become American Idol.
Yes.
With almost the same level of production, pomp, and essentially the same kind of popularity contest.
Yes.
At a certain point, it's not being about who is qualified to be president. It's just
it's true.
I
saw this in California when Arnold Schwarzenegger became governor. Like, so many people came out of the woodworks to, be on the ballot that year. Mary Carey and it wasn't Webster. It was the other guy, and I forgot Gary Coleman. But like, I was very green at the time, or Green Party at the time, and so I was all about Camejo, who was a financial advisor, and the whole reason that like Gray Davis was just about to get recalled was because of a like $300 car tax so that we could get out of debt. And so they like, people were like, absolutely not. So they recalled him, and then, Arnold Schwarzenegger was in his place. And just way side note, I'm tired of voting. I think that the first couple of years I got to vote, I was in California and we had the special election. There was a representative from San Diego who died. So there was another vote, Californians vote on props. And, that's the whole Prop 8 thing and like a bunch of other stuff. Like we have props that we vote for that I don't think that we should have any say in, like how big stamps are. Like, I, as a voter, do not give a fuck how big stamps are. Like, why are you bothering me with this? Just, like, I like Connecticut. I know that there was, like, a proposition to have propositions, and that was voted down because, like, people were like, it's not important to some people.
And it screams at me of, like, mass willful ignorance, and that's where I just go, yeah, but a lot of us do want that, so why are you listening to the minority?
Right. Yeah.
I remember last election, like the last election.
I knew that Trump was going to win because, like, people wanted to say that I just knew it. Like, people wanted to say that they voted for him. Not because they thought he was qualified, because they wanted to, like, have that, like, well, I voted for this, ex-reality TV star,
At that point, it was just about spitting in the eye of the establishment.
Right.
How long had like the established order of like the government where it's just been like, you know, the left half or the right half. So it's like, yeah, make a choice, one or the other.
Right.
But then he comes in this guy who, yeah, is right, but he's completely different from every single like. Is that bit from Futurama where you had like John Johnson and John Johnson
Oh
just
yeah,
clones from each other and basically said like, "Oh, I agree with this. I agree with my opponent, but only slightly." Like it just became that.
It did.
Then comes Trump, who is brazen, stupid, and quite frankly ill-equipped to do anything in terms of government, you know, reform. But he's saying, "Yeah, but I'm not these guys. I'm not corrupt. Put me in, and I'll fix things." Yeah, he didn't.
Right.
And there's reasons why beyond just the optics. I'm fairly certain.
Yeah.
You know, most of it was him, but like I'm just saying. But he himself was the only way that you could actually form. And I'm fairly certain the only reason that he got elected was because the left had no idea that he'd win in a realistic
Gotcha. Fashion. Right. They were like, yeah, and I've seen that. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm just, that's the part where I get angry, is just like the level of control that people seem to get to just give to this kind of election where, like I was gonna say, I remember the ballots. I have no idea who I'm voting for. Like a good third of the options are like one person.
Right.
Like,
oh yeah, that's true.
There's no other choices, and on top of that, I don't know anything about any of these people because I never see a lot like of. This could partially be from like my own like ignorance and non-research of the situation, which I absolutely like. I take account for that.
Yeah.
But that said, what does it say when the only choices are like one or nothing?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I'm just like, yeah, it's Connecticut. Like, you know, yeah, like one person will vote or will like run for, you know, like town selectman, and you're like, I don't even know, like that seems like that would be important and like probably affect you more than, you know, the like the state treasurer, but like fuck, you know, like do you know who they are? No, unfortunately not, you know, and like that's and I mean that like I know that many people thought that like Bernie Sanders should be the president and everything, and I just think that he has more power being a congressperson, you know, and I'm like and I know that was like a hard take for a lot of people, but I'm just like, he has more power where he is, why put him in as president?
Yes, no, and I completely agree. Like, he absolutely should not go into like the higher politics, because at that point he just loses about a good third of power, and he becomes essentially a puppet.
He'd lose basically his teeth. Like, you know, it'd be like, okay, sign this, you know, law that maybe you kind of agree with, but like, you know, basically if you don't.
Yeah, it's just like, you lose all like objectivity, because at that point you have to like play both sides, and on top of that, you're sitting at the pillar and you're just being given stuff from the bottom up. So you lose any kind of like moral standing at that mark, because you don't have enough knowledge to be able to you know, to be able to get a grander picture, or at the bare minimum, you don't get enough of the picture because everyone wants to get you on their side.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, so I just wanted to get back quickly to like the other point I was trying to make, which was with Monica Lewinsky coming back to this in the whole regard, it became just a smokescreen. Like,
it was.
She was thrown under the bus as
she
hard
really
as humanly possible, and never really got an apology from anybody.
No, not from anyone. She like, it seemed like she kind of went into herself, because I'm like, well, what fucking job is she gonna get? And then like came back and was like, listen, I'm doing TED Talks. Like, oh shit, she fucking came out of nowhere. But like, she also was like 22 at the time, you know, and like wanted to be in politics, and like, you know, was just probably like infatuated with like someone who had, you know, intelligence and like power, you know, and like the, you know, like she was 22. She was 22. Like I can't like, you know.
Makes a good decision at that age.
Yeah.
Sorry,
no. It's true. Like that. It's not like, you don't know. And like, you know, yeah, she made a huge mistake. I think Bill Clinton should have, you know, been held higher, to a higher standard because he was in the position of power. This is one of those things. What's that?
I was gonna say he's older and holds the power.
Yes.
And honestly, like
he knew better.
He's gone through this before.
Right.
Right. Before. He's done this a number of times.
Yeah.
But in that same token, why would he ever change? He's gotten away with it so much that he can just essentially just keep doing it.
Right. Which I'm like, oh, yeah, ruining women's lives and then just moving on, which I'm like, yep.
Oh, great. I just did a sex act in the White House. Wait, I'm not getting shit on? Well, hell yeah, let's get down to the hooker range.
Right.
That's just what it amounts to, is just, okay, if you don't punish the person aiming to wait, why would they change?
Right.
And part of that, I feel, is like, I hate to say it, part of this is Hillary Clinton's fault, because she just keeps letting him get away with it. Right.
I did hear that they did have a couples therapist, which I'm like, Jesus. Ugh. The amount of stress that would bring. Yeah. I mean, I think it was a similar, I think Obama and Michelle, or Barack and Michelle also had, a couples counselor. And it probably was the same one, because, why would they go outside of that, small circle? Because, I mean, Jesus, that person has to probably pass some. I mean, we're under oath anyway, but I mean, therapists have confidentiality, but it's like, well, you still have to have some sort of what is that called? Clearance, security clearance. I'm guessing if you need to talk about.
Well,
high security thing.
They're under an incredible amount of scrutiny because now not only are they privy to probably sensitive information, but they're also now privy to what could easily destroy the careers of politicians. So at that point, it's just you're more than likely under several levels of radar, if not
all of them.
Followed by a number of security agencies.
Right. I mean, that's one of those things where I'm like, do they have to go in and sweep the office and make sure that there's no listening, devices?
I feel like anytime they go into this kind of thing, they have to do that. Right. But I feel like it's more so with a therapist or something like that, because at that point they have. I'm not saying that they would, but they have a level of control over the situation and how to direct things for the most part. Now that said, I'm again fairly certain they have to be screened, and not to mention just gone through a level of documents and everything to ensure.
Oh yeah.
You fuck with shit. You're the one that will get in trouble.
You're disappearing. We're not. And I'm just like, oh my god, can you just as a therapist sitting there just being okay, any president trying to be all right, so hey, if this conversation is something that you could have had at home, then you wouldn't need me. How do you even have that conversation with the president?
I don't know. At that point, it's you're trying to tell one of the most important people on the planet, why are you coming at me with this?
Yeah, exactly. Are we really gonna sit here and talk about furniture, or do you need to talk about the stress that you have at your job?
The feng shui of the house is just awful. And the therapist looks at the president you live in the free world. Shouldn't you be dealing with the economy? Shouldn't you be dealing with other shit as opposed to just the furniture arrangement? Really?
Or I sometimes I feel very odd looking at my clients and stuff and see I get their addresses, so I'll be like, oh, okay, what environment do they live in? What's around them? That type of stuff. Because I want to know, because it is much information. It's very informative. So I can't imagine knowing having the president as a client and then being okay, so you signed this law. That's gonna cause a lot of problems, or feeling I maybe I'm influencing I guess policy or something it would just be so weird. But I mean, it's obviously I think that, I mean, luckily they did go for couples therapy. I hope that it worked.
From what I understand, it didn't, but I'm happy
Yeah.
that you're like at least on the like the hopeful side of it.
Yes. And I mean, they probably have need it like, 10 times over or something, just because, like, of all of the shit that they've been through, and that they've caused for themselves, obviously. um and so I'm like, okay, I mean, good for them, but also, like, I mean, I also hope Monica Lewinsky got a lot, and I can't imagine. Again, this is one of those things where it's like, oh my god, can you imagine being that person's therapist? Where it's like, now you're reading all of the details. You know that people are nationally making fun of this person, which is, I mean, that's a lot for a 22-year-old to take on.
Not just that, like think about like listening careers, like you will nonstop have your bosses asking like, can you be trusted because you were right. It's like not even her fault because like right. You said, it was someone else who did this. And right. Like, that's not her fault. Right. She was a young kid who got stupid shit. The only difference is that this one was like publicly. Right. This was public. Yeah. Yeah. And like, and that's the amazing part. She's basically the first person, as far as I can tell, that was. Like, I don't want to say, like, officially, but, like, she was the first person doxxed.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Just completely outed. Like, yeah, because, I mean, like, Marilyn Monroe, like, there were rumors, but it was never like, oh, no, this definitely happened. It was like, the whole happy birthday, Mr. President thing, like that. I mean, infamous. But, like, okay, like, did it happen? Did it not happen? We don't know. And then any other time there might have been an affair, it was like, oh, that might have been something. But like, this was out there.
Yeah, it was out there. It was publicly available. Like, right. Star basically just documented every stage of what was going on. Government agencies were probably going through her house. As far as I could tell, her mother and her had to like move like a number of times to get away from.
Well, and then, like, how do you even have a normal life after that? Like, let's say that you're just like, fuck, I guess I have to, get some job, any job. And they're like, first of all, places not believing that, you're the Monica Lewinsky. And then, two, like, if you get some, like, front face job, where you have to interact with people and be like, oh, you look a lot like Monica Lewinsky. Like, great. Thanks. And then, like, maybe the harassment that comes from, people being like, well, I want a blowjob too now because the president wants to die. I deserve one too from talking to you. Like, Jesus.
Just to quickly add in, like, from what I've seen in her interviews, apparently she was crying, just absolutely, like, just devastated that right now that she is being paraded like this. Mm-hmm. And then told by frontiers, or investigators, charged with perjury and jailed for 27 years if you didn't cooperate.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. I can't imagine that as 22. Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah.
There's no way you have a reasonable life after going through something like that.
No. And, yeah, the pressure and, like, the, people. Oh, my God. I can't. Oh, my God. Yeah. It's.
She is an intelligent person. That's the funny part. She is an intelligent human being.
Oh yeah, she's very intelligent. I mean, how do you don't become a White House intern by sheer, mostly sheer luck. You have to have something for you that makes you get to that point.
And then and then going through all this, like I remember like the Lifetime like movies, the books, the skits that essentially painted her as like essentially like not her. I don't even want to like.
Right, it was a character. It was a character of her.
They turned her into that.
Yeah.
And it didn't even stop.
No.
Like they kept going for like a number of years.
Online. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like even today, I feel like this goes back to the whole anonymity of the internet thing, and just like how anybody can just like be a piece of shit for no no consequence whatsoever. Which goes back to the Bill Clinton thing, which is hilarious, but I digress. When you go through like all that, and every single person that harassed you, that caused you to become this caricature of yourself, all for one mistake, and you can't blame them for the most part.
Right.
Yeah, the therapy
extensive. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's like that's it starts off probably like 3 times a week. Like, okay, you need the help. Yeah.
Yeah, now like just
right.
And on call. Like I'm really
right.
sorry.
Yeah. On call, just stay in my office and cry. It's fine. Like do what you need to do. Like, be safe, please. Like this is the safe place. Where like the outside is like, not nice, and painting you as something that you're not. But I mean, even at that age, like you don't know who you are, so like how difficult is it to be like, am I a terrible person? Like for being this ambitious and then getting this like amazing opportunity and then fucking up, publicly.
Okay, and here's the part that gets me, and this is as I'm reading up on this whole thing.
Yeah.
Apparently, staffers and advisors saw this happen and didn't do anything.
Oh God. Wow.
Like that's the part where I have to like tilt my head and just go, "Are you high?"
They didn't have the same values as we do now, and like it's not that I want to be like, oh, like they can do whatever they want, but it's just like that was the value at the time that like there's all these things where it's like, and this person in the 90s groomed this other person, yeah, for whatever reason that was acceptable, like
I can't even get behind that.
Yeah.
Just, how in any kind of like reasonable mindset do you like look at this 22-year-old who has literally no idea what she's getting into? And I'm fairly certain these staffers have like avoided controversy. They had to have.
Right.
They absolutely had to have. And to see this woman confess a crush to a, I can't remember what age he was. Like it was definitely on the younger side, but just like
I think he was like in his 40s, at least 20 years older than her.
Yeah, but still, this childhood crush, and just let her do it, or say, and Bill says, "Oh yeah, well come on in."
Right, and yeah, it was it was just one of those things where like, so we're just gonna let this happen. Yeah.
Like I can't reasonably think that, and I'm not even coming at this from like the idea of like the mindset. Like you said, it was the era and how things work. Like, like rumor, okay, cool. No, like these are public officials. They have to understand how much like optics are on this individual.
Yeah. And like, they didn't. Yeah. But I mean, like, also, I'm like, okay, so like one of the wag the dog theories is that this was supposed to actually push out the murder of Chandra Levy, who was having an affair with one of the senators, and then her body was found, and then like right before it was like, so we're still investigating. Oh wait, no, was Chandra Levy, was that that might have been 2000, that might have been 9/11, because that was never resolved. I got my dates mixed up, sorry about that. No, I think this was one of the wag the dog about like some of the things that were going on, I think, in the Middle East at the time.
Yeah, hold on, I'm going through it right now. At least a list of like
what it could have been. What this was detracting from.
Barry Mahoney?
What's that?
Mahoney?
That's possible. It doesn't sound familiar, but
it was a White House intern.
Oh, okay.
Like it was that, and well, there was another one, but that's like before he was president.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, like I get what you're saying. Like it's to cover up other stuff, which given the state of things, and just given how much we are finding out now behind closed doors, I could absolutely believe it.
Yeah.
Like I could believe any of this at this point, just because I don't know. It's partially the nihilism, partially just.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like there's like every senator has a secret at this point, and it's just.
Oh God, yeah. I know. I've definitely been told about like some of the secrets. Oh
yeah,
gosh.
But that's the thing. It's like we find out about some, and we don't find out about others, and it's the one we don't find out that we should be horrified by that.
Right.
And like if we found out about this, how much has he actually done? And that's where you have to like tilt your head and just be like, oh God.
Right.
Worst thing you've got. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Again, like that's So
right.
all we can do now is just look at this poor woman who got essentially screwed over by planet Earth and never given a proper apology.
Right.
And probably never will.
Right. Never will. Yeah. I mean, it's messed up. It's messed up.
And now Bill Clinton's, I don't know what Bill Clinton's doing right now. Like, I mean, I know he's not, I know he's not in jail.
Right. No. He was definitely around with hold on. Sorry guys, my camera is not working right now. So you'll just have to deal with both of our voices. I mean when he was doing the debates, or like when Hillary was doing the debates and everything, he was there, and then like one of those things that was like messed up was that the whatchamacallit, was that I think it was Trump who had like Jennifer Flowers and like two other women like who he had affairs with, like just they had him like sitting next to or like near or across during the debates from Bill Clinton to like I guess throw all of them off, which I'm like the psychological shit that you guys are going through just to like win a fucking debate. Like it's not even politics. This is just, like I don't even know.
Well, again, this is where I pointed out it is basically American Idol. It is a popularity contest.
Yeah.
Because this says next to nothing about Hillary Clinton's ability to actually govern things. Although, to be honest, like I also question the fact that she's like repeatedly hidden Bill Clinton's transgressions and forgiven him for a number of things that makes little to no sense to me. Like, I look at a certain point, like if he's going this hard into like, oh, I want to fuck other women. Just, I think it says more that you divorced him and left him to the dust. I get old values, but just God.
Yeah.
Have some level of like. Look, I'm not saying like you can't make things work, but just like if it keeps happening, have self-respect for yourself.
Right. Exactly.
Let them go. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
But just God, if he's having
this many affairs, yeah. I mean, I'm definitely for other forms of relationships other than monogamy. And so I'm just like, okay, at some point, like, maybe you just have an open relationship. Maybe at some point you just say, all right, like, do you need to go get water? It's okay. Okay. No, it's okay. I'm just like, do you have water nearby? I always have water nearby, so.
I can't eat and drink at the same time. I ate like not too long ago.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, okay. Yeah, so like, oh my gosh, where was I? Oh my god, my brain.
Different forms of monogamy.
Yeah, different forms. It's like, have an open relationship. Be polyamorous. Like, it's not a problem. Like, no. You might just be, like, you could set an example of like what that is. Like you don't have to practice something that just doesn't fit into who someone is. Like he clearly wants sex with other people, and and I mean I think this is one of those things where it's like, and over the years I have changed my opinion. Whereas like when I first when the affair had come out and everything, and many of them obviously had come out, it was like, why is she with him? Like, why is this stand by your man bullshit going on? And then over time I'm like, because it's security. Because what is she gonna do? Like they're the Clintons together. Even if it's like some bullshit, like they're together in this, and like
I get that. I really do. But I'm also of the opinion that like it's also like there's a limit to where it becomes an unhealthy relationship, and they're basic like I'm not saying this is what's with the Bill Clinton thing or anything, but this is just my like read on it. It almost feels like they're together out of just pure spite.
I mean, on some level, maybe, like that they're together because, she doesn't want him with other people. But, like, who does that hurt in the end,
Well, it hurts both of them,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
Actually, I'd argue it hurts her more than anything.
Probably, yeah. Because she has to go through this every time he has another affair, and it's like, and I'm going to say something that's very misandrous, but it's like, until his, like, dick withers out, withers down and, like, he can't perform, then what's he going to have?
I think that the point is just like, okay, let him have his all his affairs, but then still stuck with her. Yeah. And now, like, can't do it with anybody. So it's like, again, it's like the I can't remember, like, the exact phrase, but it's like, okay, you're out of me out of spite, and now you got no other choice. You have to stay with me.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't think that there's, like, I'm kind of like thinking it's multi-layered. Like, there's gotta be, like, a number of fucking reasons why Hillary has stuck with this man.
Yeah.
I'm also assuming just, like, optics or politics.
Sorry. I listened to some of the audiobook of the book that she wrote. Oh my God. It was like a teenager just being like, we didn't even think that Trump was popular. We just, like, no one really liked him. Like, she told this story about going to his, like, to a party in, I think, Mar-a-Lago or whatever. And she was like, no one else was going to show up except if we showed up. So we showed up, and then we took our, like, little pictures with him, and then we walked away, and it was just like, oh God, I'm like, I think that there is a part of her that's very immature and, really can't handle, some things. But, it's not like, I mean, that hopefully was just the writing and not, too much of who she actually is. But who knows? Maybe that is who she actually is.
Well, I think it's more or less just like she's coming from the time frame that she was in back in the day. Like, because again, like, everyone like thought of, like, Bill Clinton in different ways. Some of them assumed it was, he was, like, a decent politician. Some people just thought he was, like, the party guy. And again, I think that's part of the reason why he probably got elected, was because everyone thought he was, like, this really applicable, like, human person.
Yeah.
Turns out he was not that at all.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of this situation probably would be remedied just with, like, Hillary saying, you know what, I'm not fixing your messes anymore.
Yeah. You deal with your shit.
Which, again, I feel like she's the brains of the operation.
Oh, yeah.
For the most part, just given what I've, like, seen of them in, like, real life.
Yeah.
As opposed to, like, them in, like, media depictions and all that fun shit. Just, I feel like she's more intelligent. Then again, she's also been in politics for, like, a lot longer, and now Bill's out of office, and he's done essentially nothing but just, like, proselytize himself for the Democratic Party.
Oh yeah, that's true. Because, like, I mean, as much as I don't like George W., at least he's like, I did all this stuff for AIDS in Africa. Like, wait, what? And he's like, and now I'm doing paintings to sell for wounded warriors. Like, holy shit, what just happened? What?
Yeah, it's something.
Like, I know, it's something. It's really surprising too. Like, he just, like, I don't know, like, like, I swear everyone was like, yeah, okay, whatever, and, like, turned around, and then he was like, I'm still cool. Like, holy shit, what the fuck happened? Cool grandpa? I don't know, what even happened?
See, this is why I feel like it's not the president that's the issue when it comes to this kind of thing. It's the office around him. I feel like that's the main factor when it comes to a lot of this, as well as, like, the super PACs and, like, all the money that gets pushed around.
Yeah.
In there, like, I feel like that's the majority of the issue, is that, like, private interest, like, takes over.
I've heard that there's, like, this one religious leader that has met with every president, and they're the ones basically who are setting the policy.
Yeah, there's, like, a cult leader.
Yeah, there's, like, a cult leader. Yeah, that, like, is really, 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 really the brains of the United States. Which I'm like,
yeah. You want to know the hilarious part?
What?
That religious leader walked up to the White House and proclaimed himself king of the United States.
I mean, he's not wrong.
No, I mean like actively did it.
Yeah.
Like just
Oh,
like
Jesus.
walked up with a crown, with his like I don't know if he had a wife or whatever. Like it doesn't matter.
One
but,
of
like,
the many, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, more than likely.
Yeah.
And then just said, "This is my country. Fuck you." And like, that's the more frightening thing is that he was allowed to do that. Like no one took him seriously.
Right.
But the problem
but
he was allowed.
But he did it. Yeah. He did it. That's the yeah. In the White House.
Why would he be allowed to do this? Like, why are you letting this guy? That's essentially a coup. Because I looked through his like actual religious like.
Oh no.
Oh no. And everything, and it's fucking insane.
Yeah.
It's also crazy because he like wants to create the perfect human race and is like binding people to like partners like against what it's changed.
Yeah, that's
changed, but that was what he thought before, which is still the issue, is that he thought he knew better than individual people and then again, it's one of these cults where it's just like, oh, we can bring you peace and happiness. Cool.
Right.
Give me all your money.
Right.
Okay.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah.
This guy runs the U.S.
He runs the U.S. Yeah.
That's the most. Actually, that makes complete and utter sense to me.
Right.
Given what's happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I just realized just how.
Yeah, I know. I know that this is another controversial take, but I don't vote anymore because like it. It's like I didn't vote in the 2008 election because I was like, well, like okay, Connecticut already we all know who was going to win the state. So what does it matter if I vote? Like what was it gonna count? Like nothing.
The mail-in votes that they fake and everything else. And again, both sides. I'm not saying it's one or the other.
Oh yeah,
both sides.
It's both sides. Yeah.
They mail-in ballots for like dead individuals that still count somehow for reasons. Again, the gerrymandering thing, all this other shit. It literally means next to nothing. And I get it's like, oh, it's defeatist, but it's kind of the only way you can fight is just like to not give them the option to like misuse your vote.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I know. At this point, it's just like I don't want to like create not people. I don't want to kill anybody. I don't. It's just okay. Then I'm not gonna participate. Like I get like it's defeatist, but then again, like.
Well, I mean,
what else are you supposed to do?
Yeah, the policies are gonna go on. Like it's like. I mean, I think it's more important to vote for the senators, and like we have the senators that we have, or not senators, Congress, members that we have, like, and there, I don't think that many of them are leaving anytime soon because I just saw with the one from New Haven, she has like multicolored hair. Oh my God, I fucking.
Mitch McConnell. That's all I need to say.
Oh, gotcha. Ugh.
Nancy Pelosi has been in politics longer than most people have been alive.
Yeah.
And only got out because of what happened.
Yeah.
I think.
It definitely looks that way, and so like I'm actually kind of mad about it because I'm just like, okay, so the whole thing about like that attack was intimidating her, and what did she do? She stepped down, so that gives them more power.
But I don't even think it was that. I think it was just like there's a whole level of like I've been hearing like way too many like weird things about that whole situation, and at that point it's just like I feel like if I was Nancy Pelosi, I'd have wanted to get out a long time ago because like your party has evolved into basically like what kind of politics can we agree to in order to get the young people's votes and everything.
Oh yeah.
Like again. Just because I feel like I have to keep like justifying this, I'm of the opinion it's both sides that are like.
Oh yeah, no, it's both sides. It's both sides. It's not.
But
it's not one or the other.
Pelosi's been the longest, one of the longest running senators to be in. This is like complete optics, and I apologize because I know this isn't her fault.
Yeah.
Like she really does look like she's been in politics longer than most.
Feinstein looks like she's been in politics even longer than Pelosi.
Yeah. But again, her opinions are the issue. Her opinions are the issue, not
gotcha.
her age.
Right. Yeah.
Her opinions and the way she runs things.
Yeah.
And again, she should have been voted out, I think, because of those policies. But the only time she's ever been, the time she's quit now has been, oh, my husband got attacked.
Right.
Like you said, like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, you're just gonna let him run? Like, really?
It was an intimidation tactic, and well, it worked then. So now I think this is both sides. Both sides are going to, have that as a part of, their strategies, which I'm like, oh no.
I mean, can we also point out the fact that, like, nowadays, and I hate that this is the fact, because, like, this is not how you enact, like, change for the better, that politics has now literally become, like, not only the Hunger Games, but, like, most dystopian, fiction, where it's just, like, again, change should be good. Like, it should happen naturally.
Yeah, change should be good, but I think we're getting into that point into the like dystopia where we have all of the information. We're bombarded with different information all the time, like and so like now it's what did I call it, the theater of, like, when I go to the gym, it's the theater of like all of the the TVs going at once. And like it's so and that's the beginning, right, of every dystopia, is to ignore all of those things. And it's like, and when you watch something like that, I used to be like, oh, why is everyone just ignoring all of these things? And it's like, because they're not showing the part where it's everywhere, where they're like bombarded as soon as they leave their house with, information. And not even that, like it's, on your phone and your push notifications and all of this stuff that happens, like like it's just like, yeah, it's so messed up.
Well, I think the problem is, part of that is by design, because I feel like at this point they can't control the level of information. Because, I mean, let's face it, that's what they used to do.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Like, everything is just again, it's 1984. Is the propaganda machine? It's all over the place, and the problem is now they can't control it as well as they can, because public trust in news is gone, objectivity is gone. So now it's just a matter of how much false information can we throw into the ether?
Right.
Which,
yeah.
As far as I remember, was spy tactics. Was to just like throw out as much like amorphous, nondescript information as possible, and that's our news media.
Yeah. But it's not even that. Like I did try to minor in journalism at San Diego State. I did not. I just ended up taking a lot of journalism classes because I was like, I really wanted to. I'm glad that just never panned out. Yay for me. But like after a while, you learn that like, there's only real 5 corporations who are, like have the information. And like is, I think it's Reuters. Reuters is like one of the ones that's perfectly fine, and they are like middle of the road. They just do old fashioned journalism, who, what, where, when, why, and all of that stuff. But like there are things that they obviously don't cover. Washington Post is great, but there's things that they don't cover, and they get things wrong now. Like Times, like there's things that they don't cover. Like, and
everyone has been doing that, and no retractions are being printed.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so like it like I've been counterculture, like I don't always look like I'm counterculture, but I'm like, I'm counterculture, like. And I've been that way for a long time. I think like since I was probably radicalized around 12 or 13, because life in Berkeley and like that surrounding area, like you are around people who are very intelligent, who will tell you things that like that are the true things about the government. And like it's not always hard to see. And so and then also like knowing that there's like all of these things that have happened over the many years of like the FBI, the CIA, and the things that are coming out now, that it's like, okay, so we did do all of these things that we weren't telling you about. And yeah, like it's really easy to just be like, okay, I'm not. In the past though, we had disinformation, which is like a whole Like it was a whole like there were books on like there it was counterculture. It was almost like what was that one about like 9/11 that was like I think they were the ones that were like steel beams like or yeah airfield yeah plane fuel doesn't um yeah I can't remember what that was. It was like there was some movie. It was kind of like that we had, and like I loved having my disinformation book, and going through their website and everything. There's a lot about even Columbine that we actually don't know, and there was a journalist who went through the 300 reports from all the students and the teachers and everything, and they are positive that there were three people there, not just two. And like that's one of those things that I'm just like, like there was a narrative, and that narrative was, as we're talking about, like, that was propaganda. It just, the two misfits who were bullied and then they did this. That is not true. They went to prom. They had friends. They were pieces of shit who loved Nazi shit, and like people didn't like them. And it's like, well, yeah, of course people didn't like them. Like, it, and that they went to therapy, and therapy was like, hey, you should be kind of a normal kid. And they were like, I don't want to shop at the Gap or Abercrombie. Like, that's not the thing. They probably were just trying to teach them empathy or some bullshit, and like, they were just like, this is stupid, and then did this fucking shit, and
I think I see it now. It's just like the system failed, so they had to cover up the faults of the system.
Probably, yeah. Yeah. And also that it was the guy who sold them the guns, or who gave them the guns, not who sold them, who also got in trouble, like who got arrested too. Like that was, I think, the guy who was with them at the school, but like, they probably just had to, I mean, news media didn't want to cover him because, didn't fit the narrative. And then also that, like, maybe he didn't go to jail only for the gun charges, and I'm just like, well, maybe he did, like, but that's like that one little piece that was like really weird. Yeah, that like it didn't fit their narrative, so they didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I at this point, nothing shocks me
right
when it comes to like the idea of like fitting the narrative, because they don't want you to think about, oh, the system's faulty, so it's failing everybody. It's like, oh, we don't want to like put the healthcare system that we put so much like
right that we put so much money that yeah
work into
right
that fault and all that. It's just
yeah I know. This is one of those things where I'm like, this is how you become counterculture, is that, you listen to stuff like this and then you're like, oh shit,
it's the cracks showing. Like, it's
right.
obvious to anyone that the cracks are like obviously like appearing in it. And again, I'm not trying to say this in a way of like, oh, we're fucked. I'm trying to say this is how.
Oh no, I know we're all fucked. I know we're all fucked, because I'm like,
too, but it's like I want to be hopeful that at least at some point people have to be like knock out of their lethargy and just be like,
no,
we need to fix this in a hurry.
Right.
Like this, like they ignore the narrative of like
everything's fine. But like, I mean, the thing is that we've caused so much damage, like the gorilla, like in not enclosures, the environment of the gorillas gone because we want our smartphones. Like smartphones are made by child labor. We don't care. It like most of our clothes are made by slave labor. We don't care. And it's kind of like, well, unless you're making them yourself, you don't get the chance to opt out of the system.
And that was bad enough. Textiles in themselves also were like,
yeah, we're doing so much damage, and I think about it all the time, and I'm like, I can't do anything personally to stop it. I mean, I still want to wear shoes. I still want to, like, I still want electronics. One of my electronics is like, it's going, and I've had it for 5 years, and I'm like, I like nothing's gonna work on it in like the next 6 months, and I'm like, I have to buy a new one, you know.
I know. But that again, it's the system. Like
Yeah.
the system has set itself up to be like again. The idea is
Capitalism.
too big to fail.
Yeah.
It's too big to fail. And
it's not that it's too big to fail. It's that in like individually we don't have anything, but like, you know, if a large group of people, if all of New York decided you're not going to get a new phone for the next 2 years, like that would make an impact. Like no new electronics into the city for, you know, 6 months, for a month, for whatever, you know, like shit, what are you going to do? Well, you're going to fucking figure it out, aren't you? You know, like there's going like there's things that you can, like that can definitely happen where like, you know, okay, well, you know, we're gonna make sure that like, I mean, even like the what is that called, fair trade, that has controversy, you know, like there's no place that you can just buy shoes and know that they weren't, that like, you know, that they weren't done by slave labor. The other thing is that like if we don't employ the people in those areas that are already employed, we're fucking them over too.
I mean, it's also the fact that like every single industry has gone overseas, and we have to now that we realize, oh, we gave everything overseas, we're kind of fucked.
Yeah.
Now we're only starting to realize it that we need to bridge back, and why would they ever want to give that up?
Right,
why
and
would
they can't
ever give up the power they have now? It's like congratulations, like again, people have probably been screaming this.
Right.
Like the minority voices in this whole thing that aren't part of the Earth have probably been screaming this.
Right. For years. Yeah. And they have. And like there was a whole gosh, it's a magazine, I want to say it's called No Ads, or oh no, it's Adbusters. It's all about like, you know, the rampant consumerism. They also have like Chuck looking shoes that are like no ads, but like, I mean, you know, the point being that we're all branded in some way.
Yeah.
And there's so many ways that I can prove that, you know, like just so many ways. But like, you know, it's just one of those things where it's like we're going off the rails, you know, and like you know, we're also doing things to the environment that are irreversible because all of us are doing something. And like, I mean, man, I have gotten so much flack for like, you know, using the trains and stuff, but I love using the trains. Like there is yes, so there was this whole like South Park episode where people were all smug because they were like, yes. So like I feel smug sometimes where I'm like, I get to use the train today. You know, I get to like not pollute not pollute because you know, I'm traveling basically with 300 people at the same time. You know,
yeah, I don't think that's definitely like environmentally friendly to a certain degree. Like
to a certain degree, but when you have one thing, there's the other. You know, yeah.
Like okay, I can't walk to my job. Like right. Like there's no other option. Like yeah, I could like I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, Connecticut is very in general car dependent, and I'm like, well, I don't walk to the train station anymore because we're farther away, so like I have to get a ride. You know, and that is something. You know, I can walk to my office from Grand Central, but you know, like that's an opportunity that not many people really, I mean, all of the people in that area have, but like not really a lot of people in general have that, you know, because there's not, you know, skyscrapers with like, you know, thousands of offices that are readily available to corporations and, you know, all of that stuff. Yeah.
And I also argue like the whole idea of the car thing is like I've noticed unless you can drive an extended amount to a job, you will not get hired in this state.
Right.
Unless you're like literally next to your job or something. The majority of people either here commute or have an extended like commute time.
Yeah.
So like a car is literally the only way. So especially in this state, unless you do that, you're screwed.
Well, and this state also doesn't like pedestrians because there are plenty of places like I mean North Stamford. There's no sidewalks. you are walking in the street, and sometimes those streets are very busy. Like, it's almost like they're like, unless it's downtown, no one gives a shit.
Yeah.
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 So
This
yeah.
all has to do with Monica Lewinsky.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, you have to remember, folks, tangent the podcast.
It really is. It's, like, all right.
But then again, like this is the truth behind it. It's just
Right.
like
It's always, like, it's always something, yeah. And Thomas has been like definitely like he's been making comments all throughout so, highlights. He said that he's had to like he said he escorted people to the brig for adultery. Like in the military, people are paid to be married, so it's kind of like theft if like there is adultery going on. And I'm like, yeah, that's one of those like really fucked up things where it's like, and there's this thing. Let's see. He says, do you think Eric Trump knows how to operate a push lawnmower? And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do the push lawnmower. I don't want to do it. But
I refuse. Hold on, I want to comment on this. I refuse to believe that Bill Clinton has ever done anything outside of pretty much press the button of a blender, and even then he has to have an assistant do it.
Probably, yeah. He probably had the assistant buy all the ingredients before he even started. On another note, I think I'm really excited to have the place, the house and everything, because I want to air dry. I want to have a clothesline, and they do have like a line for like they have like a O-ring in like the tree, so that I can like get like tie the string between the two, and I'm like not using electricity, but like I'm only one. He says, I've experienced our version of communism in the Marines. Oh yeah, it was polluted by capitalism. I'd be fine with turning over property to the Fed. Oh, all right, so he's definitely for communism.
Let's just get this out there too. No one owns property.
That's true.
Because you still pay taxes on it. You wouldn't pay taxes if you owned it.
Well, and if you don't pay the taxes, then someone else can own it.
Right,
yeah.
So you don't own it.
Yeah.
You basically are renting it. It's
always
renting at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very true. And like right now, the bank owns my house.
There we go. There you go. So it's like, okay, so if I don't make the payments, then I don't own it.
Right, then I don't own it.
I don't own this property. I'm merely renting it.
And that's what I always wonder about communes is like, how do they make the money to pay the property tax? Because like, okay, let's say that 20 people got together, paid for the land and everything. You still have to pay taxes and probably water, and waste management and that type of stuff. So like, you still have to have an income.
Yeah, and I'm not saying you can't have an income, obviously, but like all I'm thinking of is like back in like retirement.
Yeah.
If you were to like somehow like be on a fixed income and something happens,
mm-hmm.
yeah, you're out of your house.
Yeah.
So like, how fair is that? Like you worked your entire life to get this, gotten to this point, and basically the government said, "Oh, you can't make payments. Well, fuck you.
Right.
Get the fuck out."
Yeah.
Like, congratulations, you've just proven that your system doesn't work.
Doesn't work. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, there's things where I'm like, yeah, no. Okay, so, ready for a story about my dad. All right. So, my dad, had a property. I don't know if he was renting. I think he was renting. He was renting a commercial property on the Alameda Naval Base, the former Alameda Naval Base. It like if you know, you know. And and Warner Brothers actually took over, I think, a majority of it because it's a huge space. They did so much with that space. So they what we'll call it. So there was a fire. And I'm not going to go too much into that, but there was a fire at the property. It was not completely my dad's fault, but it wasn't like he was doing anything to prevent it. And like he was able to rent this place out without being up to fire code, which I'm like, that is so fucking military. Also, what I've heard about the sub base, which I'm like, I guess you're gonna come at me. Someone's gonna come at me. Is that there's a lot on that sub base in Groton that is completely out. That those buildings are from the 50s and they are not functioning properly, but they're military, so they do not give a shit to keep it up to date. And this is one of those things where they're like, we're the fucking military. We can do what, we're a part of the government. We can do what we want. And so they get special rules to not, keep up to any of the standards that, you or I or landlords or, other corporations, like corporations have to, follow. And so, like, I'm like, I don't trust the Fed. Not enough.
I don't trust anybody that can say a corporation is a human being.
Oh God,
At that point, it's just okay. If a corporation is a being, then they can be arrested.
Yeah.
They can be sued. They can die.
Yeah.
Because a life has a fucking period.
Right. There's an end to it. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. That whole thing. That was that Obama who said that?
That was it started with W.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
pretty certain it's been building for a while.
For that.
With
yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised, but I'm also like, yeah. Of course, you guys have to treat them like people, and I mean, there's so much with that too. With just all the controversies, all the controversies. Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's a 14th Amendment thing.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, yeah.
Sorry,
just yeah. No, it's okay. Yeah.
Citizens United, I think was it.
Or are you looking up like something?
Yeah, looking up when it was established, essentially.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
And the problem is, like, I don't want to like misquote myself and say like, oh, it was all George W. But like,
right. But you're like, it's possible. Yeah.
I want to blame the appropriate people, which again is the Supreme Court, but I'm just also blaming administration.
Right, that's true.
For the most part.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking. Go ahead.
Yeah, so 1978, it was Supreme Court that ruled that corporations have the First Amendment right to spend money on a state ballot, which is stupid, but okay. And here it is, Citizens United 2010. I think that was
2010 would have been Barack. Yeah, it would have been Obama.
Yeah, it was Barack Obama was under his administration, so yeah, we blame his administration for this shit.
Yep.
Well, okay, it's the Supreme Court.
Right, but yeah, I mean.
Actually, no. Let's put it where the blame squarely belongs, and that's the Supreme Court. They decided that they can spend money as though they wish in candidate elections, both federal, state, and local, which means even in local elections, they can have their hands dipped into it.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh no, it's okay.
This is a thing.
It's a thing.
This is the kind of cartoonish shit you'd see in like Captain Planet.
Right. Yeah. Where it's like, oh, well, we consider corporations people. It definitely has that dystopian future vibe to it, where it's like, well, we considered corporations people, so that they could
murder them.
I hope so.
Like, can they be poisoned?
Maybe. That would be.
Can they get syphilis? I would love it if a corporation was capable of getting an STD universally.
That would be hilarious.
Because honestly, I would love to see the people involved in the super PAC at any given point just have an entire outbreak of like AIDS. Yeah. Again, I don't wish ill on people individually, but this is a corporate entity. It's not a person. I refuse to say that these kind of things are people.
Right.
This is my tangents, people. this is why I have a level of this like just arg.
Yeah. of just arg. Yeah. Well, and what Thomas had also commented, which I'm like, yeah. He said that at least Democrats aren't down our throats with religion, and I think that was one of the things about going back to the topic, Monica Lewinsky, and that whole thing was that like it just like people in general were very much for, I mean, yeah, majority I think at that time because the mid '90s were for traditional marriages. That's what was understood, and so like someone cheating just seemed like it went against the puritanical roots of the United States, and like what a president should be, I guess.
You mean not a you mean a puppet?
But I mean,
like
but
they shouldn't be a puppet.
but they are
I'm
a
sorry.
puppet. But they are a
Right.
puppet, like it's just yeah.
Like, oh, they have to be the ideal. Like, again, American Idol. You
Yes.
can't convince me now that it's not basically as American Idol.
It's American Idol.
Yeah, like just stop. No one's buying it anymore.
Right.
We stopped buying it a long time ago.
Oh no, yeah, I stopped buying it a long time ago. Yeah. And like, I mean, at this point, maybe like Gen Z or the next generation will have some sort of idea that will make it easier on them with like all of the electronics, and maybe Gen X will get into office and have a chance to like do something a little bit different and more, and
I'm just praying. I'm praying that public education has failed in culling a population into apathy, and people are smart enough now that they stop doing this kind of thing. But I'm also just of the opinion that public education has essentially wiped out creative thought and reading comprehension.
Oh yeah.
So I'm also
That's
like
true.
not.
But I mean, where would any of the people go for like good information about like becoming a counterculture?
Just what? I'm just gonna say it. It's a hot take, but for the script, please homeschool. Just please homeschool.
That is a hot take.
Just stop giving these people your money.
I think that I know some of my friends are definitely on board with you. I think that we have to rethink schools, definitely. And also, I mean, like, I learned a lot in California while I was like attending school there, and so I'm just like, okay, so like I kind of wish we had more of that curriculum, because like I question sometimes, like, okay, so there's a rich history in Connecticut. Okay, so do you guys know about this? Do you know about this? Do you know about this? And then it's like, nope, we didn't really learn about that. And I'm like, okay, but this is like significant to like the United States in general. Like, how do you not know? Like, why wasn't this taught? So I'm like, I think a more well-rounded and critical thinking, and a history that maybe would make people more liberal, but like would like be something more than what it is right now. Because I'm like, I don't even know. I think the public schools in Connecticut just don't have teeth. They're not trying to teach people critical thinking skills. They're trying to teach them very scaled back versions so that there's no controversial thought or feelings or anything. Yeah. Like, oh no, did I lose you? Oh, are you back? Hello. Oh no, hello, Simon. What just happened? I hear nothing. Alright, let me oh, I can go here. Sorry about that. We are having some technical difficulties, and sorry, my computer's also giving me a pop up. So, all right. Oh, there you go. You're back.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Okay. I was just about to be like, I'll just end it. It's fine. No worries.
Well, I'm gonna have to get going pretty soon, but yeah, just
Okay.
to top up my thing.
Yes.
Let's put public education, and please, for the love of Christ, just stop giving them your money.
Right. For me, I think that education just has to change, and that we have to, like with the homeschooling, like my friends, or my friends who homeschool, they, let their kids, like kind of manage, their interests, and kind of, manage themselves. And I'm just like, I like public school. I'm for it, but it definitely needs to change and like not be just a scaled back version of
I will say,
with no controversy.
kids are smart and give them credit for.
Yeah.
Like, we all give children like not enough credit that
Oh,
they're
yeah.
intelligent enough to be able to handle shit like this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's very true.
And yeah, unfortunately, I got a call here for myself.
Yeah, no worries.
I have to go get lunch.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, and for me, I'm like, I have a lot to do that I haven't done the last 3-4 days. So I'm like, I was like, if I'm gonna be in my home office, then I'll just do all the stuff that I need to, after the podcast and stuff. So, yep.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. All right. Thanks for everyone watching, and we will be back.